Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Apollo's Odyssey. I'm your host, Apolla Asteria, and I'm really excited to do this show tonight. Basically, this show is going to be in honor of a conference which I will be speaking at coming up here on November 11th through 13th in Piggstown, South Dakota, which is about 2 hours from Sioux Falls. And that is the Star Knowledge 1111 conference. A part of this conference because it is honoring Chief Golden Light Eagle. He passed away last year around this time, I believe, or a little earlier than that. And so this is going to be a very interesting conference, and I will be actually giving a unique version of my solutions for humanity presentation. I'm redoing it in a way that's I normally redo my presentation differently at every conference, but this one is going to be extra special and unique, a little more different than I normally do it. So I'm really excited about it. I've been doing a lot of research and coming up with a lot of really interesting topics over the last few nights, and I really want to get into the Hopi prophecy, it's not just a Hopi prophecy, there's many prophecies of this, but the Rainbow Warrior prophecy, which is a very interesting prophecy from the indigenous people that also relates to some other types of prophecies from cultures around the world. And I will get into that in a little bit here. So I'm really excited to cover this topic in tonight's show. And I've known about it for a long time, but I haven't really delved into it as much as I did actually last night while just kind of looking for things to cover in my presentations differently than I normally do. And I didn't realize how much came up with it, and, the importance of the star knowledge and the star nations, and basically what the Lakota people knew about the star nations. I didn't realize how deep their knowledge went with it, and it's just really fascinating. So I'm going to kind of cover different aspects of that tonight. But before I get started here, I want to remind you all to please check out my art, which is over at, you see here, shamanspears.com. That is shamanspears.com. This is how I fund myself and keep myself going, is basically by selling my spears. So, I don't make a whole lot from doing my show, but it's basically like a full-time job for me at this point. And so really what really supports my show and keeps it going is my spear sales. So if you can help me out, you want to see my show continue with the way that it's going, and you want to see me at more conferences giving my presentation, please go to shamanspears.com and check out my art. I make uniquely handcrafted energy channeling devices, which I invented myself, that are for the purpose of channeling energy. And here's one of them right here. This is actually probably my favorite one I have in stock right now. So basically, they're all made out of bamboo. They're filled with copper coils, crystals, magnets, and sand collect from sacred places around the world down the insides. So they're super powerful. They're basically for the purpose of amplifying energy. And I'll actually be bringing whichever ones I can fit in my suitcase to the Star Knowledge Conference in a couple weeks here. And I am finishing up part of my new collection, which I've been working on for a long time, to bring to the Star Knowledge Collection as well. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, so if you want to get a spear from my last two collections before they sell out at the conference, definitely go do that now. Again, that's at shamanspears.com. I have that scrolling across the ticker at the bottom of the screen here. And yeah, so that's would be very much appreciated. Also, if you would like them as a Christmas gift, they actually make really great Christmas gifts because they're all completely unique. I never make any to the same. They're all autographed by yours truly. And yeah, someone just commented here and said, I just saw Laura Eisenhower has one, and that's how I first saw the spear. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I made one for Laura. I pretty much like most of my speaker friends have a spear by now. Everyone that's important to me in my life has a spear, definitely. So pretty cool. I've probably made hundreds at this point, and I actually charge them all onto kind of an energetic collective. So every new spear I make makes the whole collective stronger. I do it through the idea of quantum entanglement through my quantum touch energy practice. And basically, the bigger the collective gets, the stronger it becomes. The more people have their own spirit and channel energy into their own spirit, they're actually channeling energy into the entire collective. So yeah, pretty interesting. So definitely go check those out. And sorry if this is very repetitive, and some of you may have heard this a million times, but gotta advertise so that I can keep my show going. So let's get cracking on the show tonight. Um, okay, before I get started on the Rainbow Warrior Prophecy, I want to share with you all the event that I am about to do, which is the Star Knowledge 1111 Conference in South Dakota. And here that is right here. Again, that's in honor of Chief Golden Light Eagle, and that is at starknowledge1111.com. And I wanted to share with you all a little bit of the history behind this event. So here, let me just start with what they have to say on the site, which is early history. Ancient Star Nation prophecies are coming true. For 10 days in June 1996, the Yankton Sioux Reservation on the windswept high plains of South Dakota was a gathering place for indigenous tribal leaders from around the globe and hundreds of Native and Euro American listeners. The occasion was the Star Knowledge Conference in Sundance, convoked by Lakota Sioux spiritual leader Standing Elk in response to a vision. The vision showed that Native American spiritual knowledge about the Star Nations, or extraterrestrials, was to be shared. This conference also fulfilled the ancient Hopi and Lakota prophecies. Spiritual shamans from the plains tribes, Lakota, Alala, I know I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, Dakota, Blackfoot, and Nakota were joined by the spokespersons from the eastern, Iroquois, Obadiah, Seneca, and Choctaw, and the southwest, Hopi, Yakai, and Mayan tribes. In addition, the chief Maori shaman from New Zealand came from the southern end of the world, as well as the spokesperson of the Sami Laplander people from above the Arctic Circle. They came because they had seen signs occurring now, which had been predicted by ancient prophecies. These signs signified to them that the time had come to speak openly about their most closely held oral traditions. These traditions include their origin from the stars, the influence of the star people visitors on the formation of their culture, and their spiritual beliefs and ceremonies, and the imminent return of the star nations. So, and then the next thing I want to share with you all is um actually Chief Golden Light Eagle's um I guess obituary here, but this actually gets more deeply into what I just discussed here, and I think this is really important for you all to know. I actually didn't know about this until recently, and it just blew my mind. So I want to share this with you all before I get into the Rainbow Warrior prophecy. So this is just an article in remembrance of Chief Golden Light Eagle. So and obviously those are all of the names given to him by all the different nations here. That's him here. And I just want to share this with you all because I this just blew my mind. I didn't know about this until a little more recently. So, it says here in 1996 was the official year the natives came together to disclose contact with the ET star nations. They had kept this a secret for a very long time. The disclosure was triggered by the 1994 birth of a female white buffalo calf named Miracle in Janesville, Wisconsin. Floyd Han, a Lakota medicine man, commented on the birth of Miracle. For us, the Indians, it is like the return of Christ for the white people. The Lakota, Dakota, Nakota Nation, Sioux, had received centuries ago the sacred peace pipe, Chunupa, from a spiritual female being called White Buffalo Calf Woman along with high spiritual teachings. Little elders will come in the children now being born who will suddenly talk early. The birth of the white buffalo calf is the sign of the return of the buffalo nations from the stars. Part of the white buffalo woman's prophecy was to divide time into 7 fires or ages. She promised to return during the last fire and bring with her a new and final chance for reason. During the seventh fire, a new red nation can be formed. Red being the union of red, white, black, and yellow. We will be able to retrace our steps and examine what we have done wrong. We are not preserving what has been given to us to care for. We are polluting the earth. We have become our own enemy. During the seventh, the light skinned man will be given a choice between his technologies and his nature. And if he chooses his nature, there is still a chance for harmony in this world. If he makes the wrong choice, he will bring on the destruction of all of us. Floyd Han, Lakota. Prophecies were being given to the native nations about the coming of the Buffalo Nation, which would be the merging of the red race in unity and harmony with the white, black, and yellow races. The Buffalo Nation would also mean the coming of the star nations, the civilizations of the stars. One of the prophecies says that these times will be announced by the birth of a female white buffalo calf, which will change color to yellow, red, and black. This is exactly what happened to Miracle, the white buffalo calf. Then, to pinpoint the prophecies, a few other white buffalo female calves started to be born, even on Indian reservations. Arvel Looking Horse, the 19th generation keeper of the sacred white buffalo calf pipe from the Sioux Nation, seeing that the prophecies from many native nations were being fulfilled, called for a World Peace and Prayer Day on June 21st, 1996. Spirituals, leaders and elders, other sacred bundle keepers, and many others gathered at Greyhorn Butte. This was also a joint effort of native elders and spiritual white people for the first time. Until then, the elder councils of the various tribes from North America were always forbidding their members and medicine men to share their knowledge of the sacred spiritual matters and records pertaining to the centuries of Star Nation contact with the white man. The star beings will return at the time of Earth's changes. The first signs are floods, fires, and earthquakes. White Buffalo Calf Woman is coming back to Turtle Island, which is America. Each of us can bring the star beings in, but only with the purity of heart and intention. Looks for Buffalo. Sun Bear Abidjwe was the first Native American teacher to reveal on a large scale Indian spirituality. From from 1996 onwards, the elders started not only to bring the spiritual native ways to the world, sharing sacred ceremonies with white people, but would also reveal their contacts with the star nations, which were kept secret up to this time within sweat lodges and elder councils. The appearance of full circular rainbows around the sun above ceremonies called sundog would be another sign that the prophecies were about to come to completion. As of today, many native elders are saying that the passage between the fourth world and the fifth world of the Native Americans is occurring right now. In the winter of 1995, during a 4-day praying fast, aka Vision Quest, Standing Elk, Chief Golden Light Eagle, a Hanktown Dakota spiritual advisor and Sun News chief, was instructed in a vision to organize the first Star Knowledge Conference on the Yankton Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. The vision showed that the Native American spiritual knowledge from the Star Nations, extraterrestrials, was to be shared with the world. This first conference also fulfilled ancient Hopi and Lakota prophecies. During the first Star Knowledge Conference in June 1996 on the Yankton Sioux Reservation and the many other conferences that followed, various spiritual shamans and elders from many tribes have spoken, such as Plains tribes, and then, I mentioned Lakota, Dakota, Blackfoot. I'm sorry, I'll mess up some of these names here, so I'm not going to say all of them. Eastern tribes, Iroquois, Abita, Choctaw, Cherokee, Southwest tribes, Hopi, Yuk, Aztec, Apache, and Mayan. An Iroquois oral tradition told of ET telepathic message, "We are coming." The Iroquois elders responded, "Don't come, we are not prepared." The star beings replied, "Prepare yourselves." Paula Underwood, Juanita. There are sacred ritual altars in the native sacred sites where knowledge from star beings is kept and honored. These Star Nations altars send a blue laser light to the heavens, which the Star Nations see as beacons. UFOs used to fly over Bear Butte, the sacred heart of the Black Hills. Holy Bull, Lakota. My people await Pahana, the lost white brother from the stars, as do our brothers in the land. We will not be like the white men we know who are cruel and greedy. We are told of their coming long ago, but still we wait for Pahana. White Feather, Hopi. We are all brothers and sisters in the beginning, and we will all come back together in the end. There is hope that we can eliminate harsh disasters that are about to take place, and we have to remember that the Hopi prophecy tells also about 3 migrations with the star nations back to the stars, and that only people awakened in spirit and in heart will make it. Grandfather Martin Hopi. Whew, man, this just gives me chills, reading all this. And I really felt that this show was important to share with you all tonight. And I'm excited to be here and share this with you all. So I haven't got into the Rainbow Warrior prophecy yet. Before I do that, I'm going to go back here and look through some of your comments. Alien Girl, good to see you on here tonight. Just reading some of your comments here. DJ Sean Thomas, he says Blackfoot, my people. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you told me that. Well, apparently that's I'm going to the South Dakota Nation pretty soon here, the Sioux Nation, so that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, just going through some of these comments here. Good to see everyone here tonight. Scott Owens. Cosmic Oracles Terrell said, I pulled the Rainbow Prince Oracle card here today. That is amazing. So awesome to hear that. Aurora, good to see you here tonight. And yeah, good to see everyone in here tonight. All right, so I think I'm going to get into the prophecy here and now. All right. Let's see here. Where do I start with this? So I have a few different articles put up on this, and maybe some of this might be repeating, but they all kind of say something a little different. So you see what I should start off with here. Okay, I think this article kind of shares excerpts of all the different prophecies that I was able to find online. So I'll start with this one. This is from uplift.com. Oh, and before I start this, I want to let you all know that if you do look up the Hopi prophecy online, the first thing that will come up is probably the Wikipedia article on it, which says that it is not true and that it was made up by some writer in the 60s and that it's not a real prophecy. But according to many Native Americans that I have met, that is Wikipedia, that is a lie, and the prophecies are true, and that they've just been passed down orally, like all the Native American prophecies over, the was it thousands of millennia or whatever. So, don't believe that. If you do your own research, don't look into that because that is not true. So I just want to clarify that in case anyone looks later and is like, "Oh, this is like a sham." It is not a sham. I know so many Native Americans who disagree with that, and they say that it has been passed down orally before that book in the 60s was written. So I just want to clarify that. Okay, so the Warriors of the Rainbow Prophecy are the ancient stories of the Native Americans coming true. One day there would come a time when the earth being ravaged and polluted, the forests being destroyed, the birds would fall from the air, the waters would be blackened, the fish being poisoned in the streams, and the trees would no longer be. Mankind as we know it would all but cease to exist. This is how the rainbow prophecy begins, as retold by a woman of the Cree Nation of America over a century ago. The Cree are one of the largest groups of the First Nations Native Americans in North America. There are over 135 bands of Cree living in Canada, with a total population of approximately 200,000 today. The Rainbow Prophecy, as it has come to be known, refers to the keepers of the legends, rituals, and other myths that will be needed when the time comes to restore the health on Earth. It is believed that these legendary beings will return on a day of awakening when all people will unite and create a new world of justice, peace, and freedom, and they will be named the Warriors of the Rainbow. I almost said that backwards, the Rainbows of the Warrior. Warriors of the Rainbow. They will reteach the values and the knowledge that has been long lost in time, demonstrating how to have wisdom and extra perception and how unity, harmony, and love is the only way forward. Leaders will be those whose actions speak the loudest. The rainbow reference relates to the different colors of the original people. At the beginning of this cycle of time, long ago, this great spirit came down and he made an appearance and he gathered the peoples of the earth together. They say on an island which is now beneath the water, Lemuria, Atlantis. And he said to the human beings, I'm going to send you to four directions, and over time, I'm going to change you to four colors. But I'm going to give you some teachings, and you will call these the original teachings. And when you come back together with each other, you will share these so that you can live and have peace on earth. And a great civilization will come about. Prophecy as told by Lee Brown of the Salish tribe at the 1986 Continental Indigenous Council, Alaska. A particularly interesting part of the prophecy relates to the choosing of leaders. According to the story, a leader will not be the one that talks the loudest, boasts of successes, or has the support of the lead. Leaders will be those whose actions speak the loudest, and the ones that have demonstrated wisdom and courage and have proven that they work for the benefit of the all. Isn't that how things should be? And I just love this artwork here. The rainbow prophecy among different nations. The rainbow has always held special significance among the different Native American Indian nations. It is connected to the spirit, supreme God creator in all things. Apart from the Cree prophecy, there are many prophecies and stories from the Hopi, the Zuni, and the Cherokee related to the rainbow warriors. There will one day come a day when people of all races, colors, and creeds will put aside their differences. They will come together in love, joining hands in unification to heal the earth and her children. They'll move over the earth like a great whirling rainbow, bringing peace, understanding, and healing everywhere they go. Many creatures thought to be extinct or mythical will resurface at this time. The great trees that perished will return almost overnight. And I want to pause that there. The great trees that perished. I want to just say that the first thing that comes to mind when it says great trees, I think that might mean, I think a lot of people have seen this evidence of what they believe to be giant ancient tree stumps all over the world, such as the Devil's Tower and places like that could very likely be giant ancient tree stumps. So I just want to bring that up. That's what comes to mind for me. So continuing this here, uh, the great giant trees that perished will return almost overnight. All living things will flourish, drawing sustenance from the breast of our mother, the earth. The great spiritual teachers who walked the earth and taught the basics of the truths of the whirling rainbow prophecy will return and walk amongst us once more, sharing their power and understanding with us all. We will learn to see and hear in a sacred manner. Men and women will be equals in the way Creator intended them to be. All children will be safe anywhere they want to go, and elders will be respected and valued for their contributions to life. Their wisdom will be sought out, and the whole human race will be called the people, and there will be no more war, sickness, or hunger forever. Navajo Hopi Prophecy of the Whirling Rainbow. And here's another one here. In the time of the seventh fire, a new people would emerge. They would retrace their steps to find the wisdom that was left by the side of the trail long ago. Their steps would take them to the elders who would ask to guide them on their journey. If the new people remain strong in their quest, and the sacred drum will again sound its voice. There will be an awakening of the people, and the sacred fire will again be lit. At this time, the light skinned race will be given a choice between two roads. One road is the road of greed and technology without wisdom or respect for life. This road represents a rush to destruction. The other road is spirituality, a slower path that includes respect for all living things. If we choose the spiritual path, we can light yet another fire, an eighth fire, and begin an extended period of peace and healthy growth. And that is by grandfather William Kamienta, Circle of All Nations Prophecy of the Seven Fires of Anishinaabe from Ancient Wampum Belt. Ushering a new era of peace and prosperity. While Wikipedia would have people believe that the legend originates in 1962 book called Warriors of the Rainbow by William Willoya and Vincent Brown, the reality is that the prophecy is ancient and passed down as oral history over many generations. Brown himself admitted that his research came from the Hopi prophecies, and the book has been criticized as an attempt to evangelize the Native American community by relating the prophecy of the Rainbow Warriors to the second coming of Christ. References to a new era, a golden age characterized by harmony, stability, and prosperity, do not just belong to the Native Americans, but can also be found in myths and legends from all over the world. It is known as Christ and Genos in Greek mythology, the Satya Yuga in Vedic and Hindu cultures, and the Galadar in Norse mythology. One aspect that is common among many legends of the Golden Era is the return of beings or gods that will aid in the restoration of the earth. Or aliens. In classical Greek mythology, the Golden Age was presided over by the leading Titan Kronos. In some version of the myth, Asteria also ruled. She lived with men until the end of the Silver Age, but in the Bronze Age, when men became violent and greedy, fled to the stars, where she appears as the constellation Virgo, holding the scales of justice or Libra. Whether these prophecies are true or not, much of what is spoken about the era of greed and violence is a reality throughout much of the world today. Corruption, greed, poverty, consumerism, power to the few, and injustice are predominant characteristics of our civilization, accompanied by a great technological advancement that has become a weapon for mass destruction and a tool for suppressing resistance. Whether beings from the past will interfere or not, one thing is for sure: life cannot continue in this way forever. Whew, that just gives you the chills, doesn't it? Really, wow. I mean, I just feel so. I don't know if any of you experience this, but when I read or see something that rings true for me, I really feel it. Like it's like I get different sensations like within me, like I can almost like feel like a burning in my throat and just I don't know, like a tingle down my back. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know if you guys any of you experience the same things, but it's just I can tell when something just rings true to me. I can feel it. I can definitely feel it. And just going through these, a lot comes up for me and I definitely feel it. Definitely. So I don't know if you feel what I'm feeling, but comment if you do. Um, so I know I kind of just went into some excerpts of some of these prophecies, and some of the ones from the different tribes are actually there's more to them than what I read. So I actually have the full prophecy from the Cree Nation here, and I think I should just sorry, let me look here for a second. Okay. So I think I want to read this one because it's a little more in depth and I know some of it will be the same as what I just read, but I just want to go a little more into it for you all. So this is goes more into the one from the Cree Nation. So let me take a drink here 1 second. Okay. So Warriors of the Rainbow. There was an old lady from the Cree tribe named Eyes of Fire who prophesied that one day, because of the white man's or Yonigi's greed, there would come a time when the fish would die in the streams, the birds would fall from the air, the waters would be blackened, and the trees would no longer be. Mankind, as we know it, would all but cease to exist. There would come a time when the keepers of the legend, stories, culture, rituals, and myths, and all the ancient tribal customs would be needed to restore us to health. They would be mankind's key to survival, and they were the warriors of the rainbow. There would one there would come a day of awakening when all the peoples of all the tribes from would form a new world of justice, peace, freedom, and recognition of the Great Spirit. The warriors of the rainbow would spread these messages and teach all peoples of the earth, or Elohi. They would teach them how to live the way of the Great Spirit, and they would tell them of how the world today has turned away from the Great Spirit, and that is why the earth is sick. The warriors of the rainbow would show the peoples that this ancient being, the Great Spirit, is full of love and understanding, and teach them how to make the earth or Elohi beautiful again. These warriors would give the people principles or rules to follow to make their path right with the world. These principles would be those of the ancient tribes. The warriors of the rainbow would teach the people of the ancient practices of unity, love, and understanding. They would teach of harmony among people in all four corners of the earth. Like the ancient tribes, they would teach the people how to pray to the Great Spirit with love that flows like the beautiful mountain stream and flows through the path to the ocean of life. Once again, they would be able to feel joy in solitude and in councils. They would be free of petty jealousies and love all mankind as their brothers, regardless of color, race, or religion. They would feel happiness enter their hearts and become as one with the entire human race. Their hearts would be pure and radiate warmth, understanding, and respect for all mankind, nature, and the Great Spirit. They would once again fill their minds, hearts, souls, and deeds with the purest of thoughts. They would seek the beauty of the Master of life, the Great Spirit. They would find strength and beauty in prayer and the solitudes of life. Their children would once again be able to run free and enjoy the treasures of nature and Mother Earth, free from the toxins and destruction wrought by the Yonigi and his practices of greed. The rivers would again run clear, the forests would be abundant and beautiful, and the animals and birds would be replenished. The powers of the plants and animals would again be respected, and conservation of all that is beautiful would become a way of life. The poor, sick, and needy would be cared for by their brothers and sisters of the earth. Their practices would again become a part of their daily lives. The leaders of the people would be chosen in the old way, not by their political party or who could speak the loudest, boast the most, or by name calling or mudslinging, but by those whose actions spoke the loudest. Those who demonstrated their love, wisdom, and courage, and those who showed that they could and did work for the good of all, which would be chosen as leaders or chiefs. They would be chosen by their quality and not the amount of money they had obtained. Like the thoughtful and devoted ancient chiefs, they would understand the people with love and see that their young were educated with love and wisdom of their surroundings. They would show that miracles can be accomplished to heal this world of its ills and restore it to health and beauty. The tasks of the warriors of the rainbow are many and great. There will be terrifying mountains of ignorance to conquer, and they shall find prejudice and hatred. And they must be dedicated, unwavering in their strength, and strong of heart. They will find willing hearts and minds that will follow them on the road of returning Mother Earth to beauty and plenty once more. The day will come, and it is not far away. The day that we shall see how we owe our very existence to the people of all tribes and that maintain their culture and heritage. Those that have kept the rituals, stories, legends, and myths alive. And it will be with this knowledge, the knowledge that they have preserved, that we shall once again return to harmony with nature, Mother Earth, and mankind. It will be this knowledge that we shall find our key to survival. This is the story of the Warriors of the Rainbow, and this is my reason for protecting the culture, heritage, and knowledge of my ancestors. Um, okay, so there's that. Let me go back to see your comments here. Um, so yeah, just going back through your comments here. Peter here says, after hearing this, how could you not think to yourself, I choose the Hopi path? Many would. I agree, 100%. I've felt that for a very long time, my whole life, really. Yeah. So I'm just looking through here, and all right. So I think I have one more thing to share with you all before I close out of here. Let me look through this here. 1 second. Okay, so this one kind of relates the Mayan cycles of time with the prophecies. So I want to get into this one before I sign out here. 1 second. Okay, so this says the many ancient prophecies that point to these times. The prophecies of many ancient cultures have spoken of these times underneath the public chaos, the uncertainty, the fear, and the dissolution of the old. There is something deep brewing. These are unprecedented times, exciting times to be alive. Though the waters on the surface may be choppy, below there is an undercurrent of deep calm. Something galactic, something cosmic is underfoot. The Hopi people spoke of the purification times. The Cherokee called it the rainbow prophecy. In the sacred text of the Hindu culture, the Vedas called it the great year and the cycle of ascension. 1,000 years ago, the ancient Mayans predicted an ending of an era, that on the winter solstice of 2012, the sun, the earth, and the center of the Milky Way would be perfectly aligned for the first time in 26,000 years, ending the fifth era of the sun. Their prediction about the sun's position was right, but the modern interpretation that is signaled the end of the world was perhaps not what the Mayan prophecy meant. It is indeed the end of an old world, but on a deeper level, it's the rebirth of a new. From a human perspective, it can surely all seem apocalyptic. A pandemic, climate change, economy collapse. However, from spiritual eyes, from the eyes of the soul, it all looks much different. We've all heard of the end times and the end of the world as we know it, maybe even an apocalypse, but many ancient prophecies, as well as current intuition within many hearts, point to the truth that humanity will ascend into a greater state of consciousness. We are undergoing a planetary dark night of the soul, experiencing the deepest darkness before we wake up to the golden dawn. The question has been, will humanity choose love or fear? I believe we've already chosen, and we choose love. There is a Sioux proverb. They have gone into the earth, and nothing will coax them out but the people dancing. And a Hopi prophecy. We are the ones we've been waiting for. The time is now for us to rise, and rising we are. This shift is happening now, so many people are waking up to who they are. Consciousness is expanding into the knowing that we are all individual sparks of divinity and that our hearts are the most powerful transducers of energy in the known universe, and that the human ability of love is what makes heaven on earth. Uh, and so it says here, as Dr. Stephanie Redfeather explains in her article, The Great Year and the Cycle of Ascension. Over 30 ancient cultures have recorded the rise and fall of human civilization in a vast cycle of time, taking approximately 24,000 years, some sources say 26,000 years, to make one completion. In this grand cycle, humanity is raising its consciousness for 12,000 years and descending into consciousness during the other 12,000. This sequence of time has been called the Great Year, a term coined by Plato. The Pachacuti Mesa tradition, as with many indigenous traditions, speaks to the part of us that is remembering who we are. During the Iron Age, humans forgot she is a spiritual being and focused on a material existence. The practice of the Mesa helps us to come back into right relationship with all that is and to once again acknowledge and interact with the subtler realms of energy and consciousness. As humankind matures into the Bronze Age, we realize that dominance is not the only strategy. There is a way to live in sacred relationship with the earth and all its sentient inhabitants. This harmonious beauty walk helps us to practice a life where we recognize the earth as an abundant resource, a willing partner. As carriers of this shamanic medicine, we are collectively contributing to the ascension of humankind. Going back to the earth is actually the way forward. Noam Chomsky spoke of the hope for the future residing in a return to the indigenous wisdom, towards a wisdom that knows how to live in harmony with Mother Earth. This wisdom abounds on earth right under our noses. One example of this indigenous wisdom can be found in ancient Ireland. During ancient days on the Emerald Island, there existed the concept of a kingship right. Uh, and before I get into this, I want to remind you all that the kingship right, which I'm about to get into, if you want to read a story that really helps you understand it, definitely highly recommend reading The Mists of Avalon if you haven't already read it. Not the movie, read the book. Trust me, it is so important. Everyone should read that book. But continue on here. So the concept of the kingship right. The ruler would enter into a ceremonial marriage with the goddess of the land, and only then would she ensue fertility and abundance for the people. Only if he respected the goddess of sovereignty, represented as the land itself, was he considered fit to rule. It was the goddess that gave him his kingship right. Woman's body was the land, and feminine rights and environmental rights were tied up philosophically into one. And basically in the midst of Avalon, the way they explain this is that usually, in the Legend of Avalon or the Legend of King Arthur, there would be these priestesses of Avalon. Really, this was a real thing. This really happened. But there were these priestesses of Avalon who were trained in the ways of the goddess, and usually every time a king was made in Ireland, or I think really just the entire area of the world during this time, basically they would do this ceremony where they would have one of the young initiate women or priestesses basically go through the ceremony to invoke the goddess and have sort of this ritualistic ceremony with the king to be, and that would be marrying the land, basically the king marrying the land. um and I think is really beautiful, important ceremony. Definitely, if you haven't read the Mists of Avalon, read that. It's so important. But going on here, a similar thread is found in the constitution of the original Iroquois Confederacy. Women chose the leaders. It was the masculine that led in the outer world, but it was the feminine that had the wisdom to confer that leadership based on a wisdom that came from the heart. We should bring that back. We should definitely bring that back. I think the world would be a much better place if we did. Am I right, women? Am I right? And a lot of people actually don't know that the Iroquois Confederacy, basically, our Constitution was modeled after the Iroquois Confederacy. A lot of people don't know that. So definitely something interesting to look into. And it actually just so happens that my ancestor Rufus King, my mom's maiden name is King, and my family were descended from Rufus King, who is one of the signers of the Constitution. Pretty cool stuff. So moving on here, the end is really a rebirth, and the rebirth is really a remembering. Mother Earth is birthing a new paradigm through the divine feminine principles of unity, interconnectedness, and love. The second coming of Christ could be perceived as the coming of Christ consciousness in all of us, which includes the divine feminine Christ consciousness, the forgotten feminine aspect of deity within each of our hearts, the Sophia Christos template of consciousness, where the masculine and feminine are united as one. And I'm not trying to turn all this stuff, into a Christian thing by saying this. I think I've mentioned many different cultures throughout this, and it's always been my firm belief that I think there's truth in all religions, and it's important to move our way through the dogmas and into the purity that came from all these cultures around the world. So I just want to say that before moving on here. So this will happen when we let the mother goddess, the feminine principle of deity, into our conscious awareness, allowing her to bloom open in our hearts. She is birthing the new paradigm through the transformative womb of the divine feminine. This is why it's so revolutionary and why the birthing pains are so disorienting, because human civilization has forgotten her. She's been in the shadows behind the veil for so long, we almost forgot who she was and what she could do. But civilizations up until 6000 BC saw deity primarily as feminine, the male principle, a later model that eventually extinguished the divine feminine. Until then, ancient cultures saw nature in all its fierce majesty as female and women as her embodiments. Our ancestors knew the connection between themselves and the earth's cycles of abundance. Ancient communities honored the feminine divine and revered women as incarnations of the feminine aspect of God, the all encompassing Great Mother. Domination, conquest, and control over Mother Earth and the feminine are illusions born of fear. We are one with Earth, and in the new era, unity consciousness will prevail, and humility and respect in the face of Mother Earth will return. Part of this golden age dawning means that a lot of us will come out of the closet to speak, and without fearing that we will be persecuted for energy and spiritual healing, we can speak our truths because the new world will need our healing gifts to ring in the new age. The light workers, the shamans, the ancient souls, and the ones who remember, who are in contact with spirit guides, animals, and galactic beings, are raising into cosmic consciousness, one sacred heart at a time, and listening to the animals, to the wisdom of the trees, the plants, the elementals. Healing and expansion can happen. We are all capable of the magic of co creation. To co create with the world, give it our blessing, and receive blessings in return raises our vibration. The human heart torus field can spread out for miles if you send out love and blessings, which affects the Earth's bioenergetic field. Love, peace, joy, and freedom can be everyone's reality. We create our reality. We are the dreamers of this dream. Human consciousness, when purified, acts in very similar ways. Amrita, called the elixir of the gods, the philosopher's stone, is available to us all, and we are all alchemists with powerful hearts and the ability to turn the leaden weight of our past into a golden dawn. Jack Black or John John Black writes in the article, "The Warriors of the Rainbow Prophecy." The Rainbow Prophecy, as it has come to be known, refers to the keepers of the legends, rituals, and other myths that will be needed when the time comes to restore the health on Earth. It is believed that these legendary beings will return a day of awakening when all people will unite and create a new world of justice, peace, and freedom. They will be named the Warriors of the Rainbow, and they will reteach the values and the knowledge that has been lost in time, demonstrating how to have wisdom and extra perception, and how unity, harmony, and love is the only way forward. The new human can and will heal and restore the earth to her rightful splendor. The raising consciousness means a deep participating with the harmony of all things. We will need to clean the water, the air, the animals will be proud and grateful to share a home with us, and we will see a million projects pop up from the creative genius born out of love, a million trees planted, and a million hearts on fire with gratitude. We will remember we have both God and Goddess in our hearts, and we will remember we are sovereign and free, and our earth is the galaxy's green jewel. As the world's tribes shall gather together as one earth tribe to protect her and to love her. It might take some time, and at first it might look like destruction, but we have come to a time of darkness, undoubtedly. And there is a metaphysical truth that has been forgotten. There is always destruction, annihilation before a great rebirth. Everything is energetic and has a deeper meaning than what meets the eye. This is the time to accept uncertainty and to surrender to the flow and to bring forth the qualities of the divine feminine that are actually qualities of great resilience. The goddess is ultimately a warrior spirit, not of war, but of surviving the life, death, and rebirth of cosmic cycles while remaining connected to that which is eternal, the love of creation. The divine feminine consciousness is on the rise, driven by cosmic forces far greater than politics or the known past. The rise of her values will change everything. We will know that our little soul song is one rich note in a vast cosmic orchestra, and that it stands alone in its beauty, but that it also contributes to the harmony of the whole, the music of the spheres. Almost like an orchestra turning up before a concert. At first, it is a dissonant din of different voices, but as they tune themselves with each other in the last moments before the curtain opens, the instruments resonate together spectacularly. Um, So yeah, I just, I wanted to share that article because I mean, I couldn't have said that better myself. I think that's a very powerful message, and it really resonated with me. So just going back to the comments here, and I had maybe a few other things to share. I was actually looking for um some articles that were written of these different basically these different tribes and their connection with the Star Nations or their origin stories, such as the Zuni tribe and its origin story. But I couldn't really find any really great articles on it, which I think is interesting. Like, why wouldn't that be out there? There's a lot of really amazing books on it, but if you want to learn more about that, there's so many amazing books and speakers that have done work over the years. One of them would be my dear friend Clifford Mahudi, the Zuni elder who passed away last year. I believe it was last July. And it's very unfortunate that he passed on. I always love speaking with him and being at conferences with him. But there are a lot of YouTube videos of his presentations. So if you want to hear more about the Star Nations, I definitely recommend looking into those. Also, of course, Chief Golden Light Eagle's presentations are all up online as well on YouTube. And if you want to hear more, please come to the event this November 11th through 13th, or we also have the event live streamed. Let me go to the site and show you all right now. But okay, here, one second here. Basically we have it all up on Eventbrite. So let me pull that up here. If you go to eventbrite.com, it would be called the Star Knowledge Ceremony of Remembrance, Full Circle, in person and virtual. So if you want to go to check those out, if you would like to, if you can't actually make it to the conference, if you can't make it to South Dakota in the next couple weekends, then we do actually offer live stream as well. So if you want to join the event and just join the live stream and watch that on that weekend just from home on your computer, then you can do that, and tickets for that are available as well. So that would be at starknowledge1111.com if you want to get to the link of those tickets. I also posted the link to the tickets below in the description of tonight's show. So please definitely join us if you want to know more about all of this. I mean, I shared everything that I could about the Star Knowledge and the Hopi prophecy, but if you want to learn more from the Native American people that will be there, the indigenous people that will be there, definitely either go to the event or purchase tickets to the live stream. I highly recommend doing that. And before I sign off here, I want to again remind you all to please go check out my spears over at shamanspears.com. They make amazing Christmas gifts. They're all made for the purpose of channeling energy and amplifying energy. I never make any two the same. They're all 100% unique. And I do next day shipping on all orders. I also have a lot of other orgonite creations, feather headdresses. Maybe I'll bring those to the event. I didn't think about that. And I have some t-shirts that support my show called I Believe in Humans t-shirts. I think I have a few left of those. So thanks so much everyone for joining me tonight. And until next time on Apollo's Odyssey, over and out.